a no. If you did, you get your ass in a different.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Before I get this lesson started, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone of whom I learned from, and shalom, taking this truth to the four corners of the earth. To the brothers taking this truth to the four corners of the earth, bidding the elect spirits of Yahshua to the marriage supper of the Lamb, who is Yahweh Shai, our future king, our most beloved elder brother. We love you, Yahweh Shai. It's your brother Adah. He was going off, right? I don't even know what I'm going to call this, but this is their tongues falling upon themselves. They still don't have the truth, but they know something's wrong. Listen to what this guy says, man.
Class, and they don't want that, because whenever you move up a class, somebody else has to move down a class, and that's not the way it has to be. About 2,000 years ago, about 1,996 years ago, a man stood in front of two different sects of people at two different times. One was a market of money changers, who were utilizing the floor at which they were selling and taking advantage of those that were trying to conduct sacrifices and just ripping them a new one financially over it. He brought out a whip and flipped tables. On another instance, in a market full of individuals called out vehemently the den of vipers that are leading them, the cold-hearted religious influence that was leading their people toward a wealth gap problem. And a man who is now in a book that has been utilized to propagandize and nationalize a bunch of old white men, and using that very book to posture themselves as blessed, to posture themselves as in the right, all while ignoring the very thing Jesus, Yeshua Christ.
His name is Yahweh Hamashiach. His name is Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, right? His father's name is Yahweh. I'm going to stop it right there. Now let's get the precepts. Who are these white men? Let me see.
Hated a wealth gap problem. And a man who is now in a book that has been utilized to propagandize and nationalize a bunch of old white men, and using that very book to posture themselves as blessed, to posture themselves as in the right.
How do we know? How do we know that these white men are the biblical Edomites and that they are not God's chosen people? Because the precepts say so. The precepts tell us. We know how to read the scriptures now, right? We've been given the breath. We've been given the knowledge and understanding. There's just one of them right here, Job 9:24. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. That means there are rulerships of races of people that will rule the earth. Daniel chapter 2, Daniel chapter 5, 7, I believe, tells you that there would be 4 beast systems, and each beast system would be a race of people that would rule the earth, and the Hebrew Israelites would be slaves in those beast systems. This is what Renaissance Western Christianity does not deal with, because Renaissance Western Christianity hides the national identity of the race of people in the 4th beast system. And the confusion that America has propagated by having multiple different nationalities all jumbled under one title known as American citizen is why it's called Mystery Babylon, the great Babylon going into confusion, because you are not a nationality. Being American is not a nationality. It's a citizenship. It doesn't erase your seed line. It doesn't erase your pedigree. It doesn't change your national pedigree. You're always the nation you're born into. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. So when the wicked would be given the earth to rule, they would cover the faces of the judges. This is how you interpret this precept, this dark saying right here. It's not even that dark of a saying. It's just written a little bit different. He covers the face of the judges. If it's not the wicked, then where and who is he? Then what race did it? You have to answer this question, you guys. And how does the Bible define the wicked? America defines the wicked as anybody doing bad things according to Americanisms. Anything that doesn't line up with white supremacist, Renaissance Western Christianity, emotionalisms, those are wicked people. You guys think that the fucking Middle East is wicked. No. The wicked is a race of people. Out of the 18 nations, one of those nations is called wicked. And we get the definition here in Malachi. Malachi tells us the border of wickedness. The border of wickedness. We go to Malachi. Let's go back one. Look at the identification. Look at Malachi 1:3. And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Heritage goes into his entire national way he expresses himself as a nation. The Most High is going to destroy them as an entire people. Malachi 1 and 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. So this means they would fall from a place. This tells you that at one time they would be established, and then they would fall, and they would come back into power. When did this happen? When the Roman Empire fell. 70 AD. The Dark Ages. They fell and went into the Dark Ages, and Israelites all over the earth that were scattered began to go into rulership, but they weren't ruling from the Mosaic law. They weren't ruling from an understanding of them being Hebrew Israelites, and they were not declaring the name of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. They became the Moors, they became Muslims, they became all these other, they were the Vikings, they were all these other great things in the earth, but they were so-called melanated black men, Northern Kingdom men. Okay? Look, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished. This is what they're saying during the Dark Ages. But we will return and build again. When Satan gets let out for 1,000 years, when he's bound for 1,000 years and Satan gets released, that's what this is talking about. We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, Yahweh Tazabah, Yahweh Tazabawath. Look, this line right here, you got to understand how powerful this line is. They shall build. Just because Yahweh spoke this. This is why Esau, the so-called white man, he's been able to rise up to the heights that he's risen. Isaiah 14, Lucifer. I will exalt my stars above the stars. I will exalt my throne above the stars and the sides of the north. I will be like the Most High. They shall build. All of that power, all of that is encapsulated in this one line, you guys. All the Alahayim on the right and left-hand side were given to Esau so that he could fulfill prophecy to accomplish all of his fucking episodes on the earth. And now it's all being taken down by those same Alahayim at the order of Yahweh to fulfill prophecy. But I will throw down. They shall build as them rising up to the heights you see them now, but I will throw down as you seeing them falling apart. You got to understand, this is all this right here, this line, they shall build, but I will throw down. That's all your Edomite supremacy. This little line right here is what's been charging, which is the what is it called? A cable, a fucking fiber optic cable of power coming from Yahweh, from the Alahayim into Esau, Edom's fucking rulership. You have to understand that. But they say it's all because of their whiteness. No, dude. This is where they got their power. But I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. Who is the they? The they is the elect man. So the Hebrew Israelite men and women. Because we've been given the eye salve, and we can see Esau for who he is. The mark of Cain is being lifted. And we can speak judgments against them concerning prophecy. Based on what's in prophecy. The two witnesses speaking fire from their mouth, devouring all that would hurt them. It's in Revelations. The fire are these words, is the correct interpretation of these words at the so-called white man. The fire that's coming out of our mouth are the oracles that Yahweh has written against Esau in his judgment. So the border of wickedness, they're not white. They are the race of wicked people, the people against whom Yahweh hath indignation forever. That's who this is, man. Let's get some more.
I'm not sure what it's going to take for my...
Let's get some more. Look at some of this shit. Look at this.
So this is the worst email so far.
Fucking Edomites are freaking out about their own people, but their own people are being revealed. The man of sin is being revealed.
That I have read in the Epstein files, and I'm going to read it to you, but I'm warning you, when I first read this email, I legitimately felt sick to my stomach. Like I'm still having a physiological reaction from it. So this is from...
And this is going to go into 2 Ezra 15, bro. White America is going to fucking snap. They're already snapping, and when that time of prophecy comes, and Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai gives the order to the Alahayim, which are your right and left-handed angels in those chariots, in those UFOs, they're already circling the earth. They're going to pour out their vials, which is the technology, which is the spiritual technology that they have, where they either breathe or speak or decree an order, and it literally soaks in, goes in, vibrates in, signals into the minds of nations, and they begin to act out accordingly. 2 Ezra 15 and 16 is going to commence, man. Jacob's trouble.
Tom Barrack to Jeffrey Epstein. And if you don't know who Tom Barrack is, he is a close friend and fundraiser to Donald Trump. He was the senior advisor to Trump's 2016 presidential campaign, and he is currently Trump's ambassador to Turkey. He is in this inner circle. So this is what the email says. And again, I am warning you, it is I just can't believe this is happening, to be honest.
I think that was funny, though. I don't care how emotionally he is. This fucker was a sniper, bro. I believe he's Northern Kingdom. I believe this guy is Northern Kingdom, but he's very Western-minded, Edomite-minded. So he's completely a zombie and a spiritual corpse because he has the false identity of being an American. He has no clue that he's a freaking Hebrew Israelite. He's a really light-skinned Northern Kingdom, but he's all shocked, right? Oh my God, my heart's failing me for what's coming on earth. Motherfucker, get out of the fucking Disney world of deception and realize what the fucking so-called white man is, dude. Realize what he fucking is, bro. And quit being a little crybaby about what the fuck you're seeing with this shit, because they've done such a good job at hiding their true identity and going around the world fucking everybody and then telling you everybody that the so-called black man is the reason for all the problems there. Get the fuck out of here.
Epstein, hope you are well. Photos look good. FYI, I receive many calls a week about both Donald, redacted, Marla, beauty contests, Mar-a-Lago, etc., and Clinton from reporters. Less so recently with Clinton, but my answers are always, I have nothing to say, or I try to ignore it altogether. A few times I have been ambushed on the street with questions, but I'm more careful now. So from this, we can deduce that Barrack just sent Epstein some photos, and Barrack is fully aware of what Epstein is doing. Barrack responds with, hope you're good, let's catch up. And Epstein finally says, send photos of you and child. Make me smile. The world is ran by people sending Jeffrey Epstein photos of their children.
And what race of people are they? What does the scripture say? We're gonna get some more. I got a YouTube video. I gotta show it, man. That motherfucker's detailed as fuck. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh hath indignation forever. What does it say in Job? What did it say in Job, you guys? Right there. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and he covers the faces of the judges. He hides the true righteous group of people on the earth and says he is the righteous. However you want to break that down, but that's what the so-called white man did. If not, where and so who is he? So what did you hear him say?
Sending Jeffrey
What did you
Epstein.
hear him say?
Me. Smile. The world is ran by people sending Jeffrey Epstein photos of. The world is ran by people sending Jeffrey Epstein photos of their children.
And what is Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein is an Amalekite, a so-called small hat. What does that mean? You have to understand why these particular white people are in power. They are the tribe of Amalek, and everything in the world is governed by prophecy. Amalek was the first. Amalek was the first of the nations. It's in Numbers. This is a prophecy. Look. And when he looked upon Amalek, he took up this parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations. How is Amalek the first of the nations when Israel is the head nation? You guys have to be able to understand that. Israel, look. You have to be able to understand what this means, man. Above all people, above all nations. Look. So this is what's supposed. So remember, prophecy governs the earth, right? So for thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy power, and Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. How can you be above all people? Talking about the Hebrew Israelites, the 12 tribes. This is Deuteronomy. This is Moses saying this to the 12 tribes. Who the fuck is Amalek? Amalek is the grandson of Esau. Esau is the so-called white race. You guys have to fucking be able to bring these precepts together and know how to rightfully divide the word of truth, like it says to do so in Timothy. Look. So Numbers 4:20, Numbers 24:20. And when he looked on Amalek, Amalek is a tribe of Edom. Let's get it. So you guys don't fucking say I'm just making it up. Amalek, the grandson of Esau. Amalek, the grandson of Esau. Look, you fucking people. Look, Genesis 36:12. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These are the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. So Esau is in the lineage, or Amalek is in the lineage of Esau. He becomes the head tribe of Edom. And because he's the head tribe of Edom, he's the first of the nations, even though Israel, the 12 tribes, are the nation that's above all the nations of the earth. So what does this mean? This means when Yahweh was punishing us as slaves to be captives because he deals with his sons first, the house of Israel gets judged, the house of God gets judged first. While we were being judged and on the bottom, Amalek was able to rise to the top in the nation of Edom, right? Who is the last ruling nation on the earth. And Amalek is able to make all the other Edomites do what the fuck he wants them to do. And all the Edomites are able to do or make all the other nations do what they want them to do because everything's rank and file. And when he looked upon Amalek, he took up this parable and said Amalek was the first of the nations, but his later end shall be that he perish. And how does Amalek and Esau rule? They rule on the left-hand side doing human sacrifices, human child sacrifices. This goes in the Wisdom of Solomon 12, Wisdom of Solomon 12 verses 3, 4, and 6. This is the trafficking, the blood power trafficking. Wisdom of Solomon 3, 4, and 6. Look, Wisdom of Solomon 12. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy holy land, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices, and also those merciless murders of children. Why? Because they were sacrificing them. And devourers of man flesh. There goes your fucking adrenochrome and your blood drinking, and the feast of blood, with their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew, and the parents that killed with their own hands souls destitute for help. Now, look at this. We're going to go into fucking the red shoes. Let me see if I can find red shoes. Red shoes. It's like a fucking trophy.
slipped.
Yeah, they're not gonna- Red shoes. Oops, that's typed RED. Red shoes. Let me see if it's on here.
These are on. These are because
Nope,
have you
they're not. Right there.
foot?
Alright, so the red shoes. These are shoes made out of typically. These are shoes made out of. These are shoes typically made out of human skin, and they're trophies. And they're typically trophies of the children they sacrifice. They're usually here we go.
Enter the red shoe theory, an unfounded conspiracy purporting that the rich and famous penchant for sporting blood-colored...
And there's always one punk-ass Jake. I get so fucking mad. There's always one punk-ass Jake amongst these motherfuckers doing this shit. If you look at the dude in the center, I think that's John Podesta. That looks like John Podesta in the center. He's like he's a rich fucking mogul that's, known for that shit.
Kicks is more than a coincidence, but rather the marker of a secretive red shoe club. Enter the red shoe theory, an unfounded conspiracy purporting that the rich and famous penchant for sporting blood-colored kicks is more than a coincidence.
That's the skin. That's the human skin of the children that they sacrificed to Moloch on this shit. And they used to do this with us in slavery, guys. So it's not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched.
Still suffering.
They are back in stock. The red.
Cut my parents out. He wanted to be my guardian. He said he would make me into the biggest teen star in history. He said I had it all, but that I had to get rid of my parents. I was like, dude, I'm 11. And he said, you're a man now. Culkin, who has been living in Paris, France since 2003, then explained that the man began to make his intentions clear. He started breathing real shallow. My experience with perverts kicked in. I could tell he was interested in me. He licked his lips and told me I was very handsome. I think I managed to say thank you and started thinking about how I could get the F out of here.
Dude, this is Macaulay Culkin going into a story that he told about the red shoes. And in my belief now that I understand how the method of revelation works, I believe they let him say what he said because shortly after that, he didn't come up dead. He got another movie role in American Horror Stories. And then he ended up marrying that really pretty Korean girl. But he's a sodomite, bro. He's a full blown, LGBT. He's extremely effeminate, man. So I don't know what he's doing married to a woman when it's obvious he's in the men. So I believe him coming out with this story years back. He explains the red shoes, how that is the skin of the children that they murder. It's a trophy. It makes sense. It shows you the mind of the wicked and how they just walk around bragging about what they can get away with. But he didn't end up dead. He ended up getting a movie role afterwards. So this is what you call revelation of the method. This is them telling you what they do and then thinking they get no karmic reaction to it.
I've been fixed.
So I'm gonna come out of here. Now there's a video that just came out of YouTube that was released last night. I watched it all. Let me see if I can find it. Right here.
All right, happy Saturday, y'all. Happy Saturday. It is a very
This is long, and I don't want to let it go over. I'm going to let most of this play, you guys, okay? But I want you to check this out. This came out last night. I don't want to let it go past an hour because if it goes past an hour, then I'm not going to be able to upload it to TikTok. So, but I'm going to let the majority of this play, and I'll probably do some on the second half. But just check this out.
thing that you get a video from me on a Saturday, but we just got the first batch of the Epstein files released yesterday, and I want to show you all of it. I do not want to wait until Monday, so here we are. A lot of stuff to get to. So first, let's start with this. Prem Thakur points out. So the Epstein files are, number 1, not complete. Number 2, comically redacted. Number 3, not in a searchable format. The Trump-Vance administration had months to recover from the embarrassing influencer binder photo op, and this is what they came up with. This is what they think of you. So he's exactly right here. They are very clearly violating not only the letter of the law, but also the spirit of the law. And this is them gumming up the works. This is them clearly doing something illegal and hoping that they're going to get away with it. So as you can see, Prem literally points out the section of the law. It says, in general, not later than 30 days after the date of enactment of this act, the Attorney General shall, subject to subsection B, make publicly available in a searchable and downloadable format all unclassified records. So, we're going to talk about this in a little bit too, but it looks like there might actually be some consequences and some justice for the fact that they released this in a completely and utterly and obviously illegal way. Now, having said that, there are still things in here that they messed up and they accidentally forgot to redact because they're incredibly incompetent and they let it slip through the cracks. And so there's actually a lot of juicy findings in this, even though what they were trying to do was effectively cover it all up. So before I go any further, let me show you this. Let me remind you of this. James O'Keefe, who used to be with Project Veritas, this right-wing journalist, he now has left Project Veritas. He did an undercover date with somebody, or he had, a female worker do an undercover date with somebody who works at the DOJ. And this person accidentally spilled the tea and said the quiet part out loud and let us know exactly what was going on behind the scenes with the Trump regime and what they're doing with the Epstein files. So listen to this.
But those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal, Democratic people in those files.
Okay, so the Department of Justice acting deputy chief Joseph Schnitt said on the Epstein files, quote, they'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files and leave all of the liberal Democratic people in those files. So he was admitting up front what we all suspected. That, remember, there was that article that came out very early on in the Trump regime that they had ordered the FBI to redact Trump's name in the Epstein files. Now, I should also point out, when the Epstein estate was subpoenaed and 23,000 Epstein emails were released, guess who was the number one person referenced in those emails? It was Donald Trump. Out of 23,000 emails, he was referenced about 1,600 times more than anybody else, and they want you to believe that he wasn't referenced at all in the Epstein files. Okay, more. This is Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, and you guys remember this. He was on News Nation, and he said he knows that they're sanitizing the files and removing Republican names. Listen.
What I do want to talk about is I've been recently told the reason they're going to be releasing these things, and the reason for the flip, is that they're sanitizing these files. There's a facility in Winchester, Virginia, where they're scrubbing the files to take Republican names out of it. That's what I was told by a pretty good source.
There you go. Literally even saying it's happening in Winchester, Virginia. Okay, well, look at this. Fox News confirms that the DOJ hid the identities of what they call politically exposed individuals in the Epstein file.
Now remember, what did we go through? We went through Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. We went into the rank and file of the Edomites, starting with the head tribe Amalek and the quote-unquote Epstein dude. He's a so-called small hat. So this is how, we don't know the intricacies of how he got so much power, but because of his lineage, he's positioned in these positions in the Edomite kingdom, where he's able to have access to all these other powerful Edomites, but it's because he's a small hat. And we saw the precept and prophecy in Numbers that Amalek was the first of the nations, but we also saw in Deuteronomy that the 12 tribes of Israel are the nation above all the nations. So which is which? You have to rightfully divide the word of God, right? And know when times and seasons and kingdoms are in position, and know what it means. Amalek would be the first of the nations because they're the head tribe of the wicked nation that was prophesied to rule right before Yahushua comes back. But it's the 12 tribes of Israel who are God's chosen people, who are above all nations, and it's through the elect of the Israelites that Yahweh will bring down the kingdom, the rulership of Edom. That's second Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. And the prophecy, when Jacob and Esau were born, Esau came out first, But Jacob was holding his heel. We're gonna pull his ass down. How? Through the prophecies. Weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We're not gonna get into a gun exchange with these guys. We don't have bombs. We don't have a military. We have the understanding. We have the knowledge of wisdom and the spirit of understanding to these prophecies, the mysteries written in the scriptures. And that's what we're decreeing that on the earth. We're speaking these prophecies out loud, and then that spirit that's coming out of us is linking up with the Elohim, and however they're working it, they're making it where Esau's kingdom is being destroyed. But all this stuff is coming out about him. All this fucking evidence of who these... Do you understand how much power, how much money, how much premeditated thought goes into having a human trafficking network at this level? And you got to remember, you guys, human trafficking isn't about sex only. That's the surface. It's about human sacrifice, you guys. They are offering a lot of these children to Molech, to Satan on the left-hand side, in order to gain their strategies, their technology, and their ability to move the way they do in so much power. It's because they traffic in human blood, man. They're not just sleeping with these kids.
Fox News Digital has learned that the same redaction standards were applied to politically exposed individuals and government officials. So this is a fancy schmancy way of saying we are absolutely positively going to protect the Republicans, going to protect Trump, going to protect the people in the regime, and we are going to immediately throw any Democrats that we possibly can directly under the bus. So look at this. Ro Khanna reported that Kash Patel said he had 300 gigabytes of Epstein files. And guess what was released yesterday? Only 2.5 gigabytes have been released. That's less than 1% of the Epstein files were released yesterday. They are flagrantly breaking the law. Flagrantly. So again, we'll talk more in a little bit about what's being done about that. How about this? Entire documents and image and video albums redacted in today's release of the Epstein files. There's like a 116-page grand jury thing. Every single part of that, completely and utterly redacted. Every single part of that. I mean, look at this. This is a joke. This is a joke. Most transparent administration.
Those are all photos, but they're all blacked out. There's a million photos, but they're all blacked out. So you see the evidence of this specific race of people that the scriptures call Esau, Edom. There's a rank and file within that nation, with the head tribe being Amalek. And this is your so-called white men and your small hats. And you see all this shit they're doing. It's all coming out by the Spirit of the Most High is making it happen. And you see that they're not keeping themselves accountable to the law, yet they have professed to be the most righteous and honorable group of people on planet Earth. They have the biggest industrial prison complex on the planet Earth, and our people fill those prisons. But here, this obvious, what's it called? This issue, this fucking scandal, this global scandal has come out, and they're doing everything in their power to keep it under wraps. They're showing, you will know a tree by its fruits. They're showing you their fruit. And what is their fruit? That they truly are a lawless race of people. That they don't love the law, that they don't love morality, they don't love righteousness, they don't love holiness, they don't love Yahweh, they don't love God. But they put on their money, in God we trust. They painted over the face of Yahushai and made him look like a so-called white man and renamed his name Jesus, and they used the Bible to camouflage their true image, you guys. And they gave the world Renaissance Western Christianity, and they told the world God loves everybody because God actually hates them.
In history, my ass cheeks is all I have to say about that. All right, more. So this is where they forgot, or they messed up, and were attempting to redact everything involving Trump, but they missed some stuff. So look at this. Guess the DOJ forgot to redact these pictures of Trump found in Epstein's desk drawer. So if you look closely here, like many pictures in this, it's almost like he had a drawer full of Trump pictures. A drawer full of Trump pictures here. And then of course you have the Epstein picture with Mohammed bin Salman. the leader of Saudi Arabia. You have him with one of the previous popes. So, man, they had a lot of dirt on homie. It looks like there's literally a Trump drawer here. Also, you see like a stack of papers. I wonder what these papers are in the Trump drawer. I mean,
I want to clarify something too. When they say they have a lot of dirt or they've been blackmailing, that choice of words makes it sound like they entrapped all of these innocent so-called white people. No, bro, they don't have dirt and they didn't blackmail. This is just one of their very wise practices on the left-hand side. They record each other doing crazy things, not because what's the word I want to use? They understand that everyone that they're dealing with is very powerful. And so to keep a very powerful person in control so that as they continue to increase in power, they don't get the wise idea of becoming independent, not in a righteous manner, but independent in a more wicked manner. That's why they do this shit. They don't film these people. Oh, I didn't want to take that picture with that child. Yes, you did. They all want to do that shit, bro. But they understand that the public would freak out if they were to see photos of these people in these positions, and then they understand how powerful public opinion is. So you got to understand when they're saying, oh, they got dirt. No, it's not like that. You're dealing with a very small group of extremely powerful people, and the other powerful people understand that every powerful person they're dealing with is going to grow in power. As they increase in their wickedness, as they increase in their fucking profits and their money making, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so sometimes some of those individuals, they want to become a little less independent, not because of righteousness, but because of pride and wickedness. And so they have all these photos of them and these videos of them to try to control that. Not because nobody wanted to be seen or they made them do it. Get the fuck out of here. That's not what it is, bro. It's so that they can keep control over the organization. That's the only reason why.
Again, this is stuff that should be released by law. It has to be released, but they're refusing to release it. But they messed up and accidentally left in. You can see some of the Trump pictures here. Look at the bottom drawer here. You see Trump's face. You see another picture with Trump and a bunch of women in bikinis underneath it. So they fucked up. They did not mean to release this one. They certainly would have tried to hide this one. And by the way, they also, we'll talk about this more in a second, but when they realized they fucked up, they went back and tried to remove this stuff. I'm not kidding. So the whole world saw it. They posted about it. They showed it. And then when it became clear to Kash Patel and the FBI idiots and the DOJ and Pam Bondi, they go, oh shit, Trump's going to be bad. Then they went back and removed it. Okay, how about this? Again, they tried to redact stuff, but they missed something here. The check Trump gave to Epstein for $22,500 for a, quote, fully depreciated woman has shown up in a new photo in the Epstein files where Epstein is pictured holding the check, standing next to a woman. Looks like Trump forgot to redact this, because if you look at the check here, look at the bottom of the check, what name does that say? It says Trump. And here's another question. Why the fuck? Why the fuck is this framed? Why did you frame a picture of Jeffrey Epstein buying a depreciated woman from you, or actually quite the other way around, actually. So Trump buying a depreciated woman from Jeffrey Epstein. Like, it's basically proving the human trafficking allegations. Now, we were we were just joking around and stuff, bro. This is your idea of a joke? Let's go get a comically large check made that says my name on it where I'm buying a woman for $22,500? Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. So this is the picture. They accidentally forgot to redact the part that says Trump, which is hilarious. And then also the original picture. This is the original picture here. So these were separate pictures that were taken with this check. Apparently they were taking pictures all over the place with this check at Mar-a-Lago, by the way. But there you have it. You have the purchasing of a fully depreciated woman. Imagine for a second, this was any Democratic president, you would never hear the fucking end of it. They would say, oh my God, pound the gavel, it's over. This guy's some sort of disgusting pervert. This is crazy. This is crazy. All right. Thousands of Epstein photos are releasing. So I believe here we have a video and I'm going to go ahead and play it for you, and we'll pause as we see fit. Here we go. All right, so this is Bill Clinton wearing a red hoodie with I don't know who. Jeffrey Epstein wearing some sort of robe. It looks like either on his island or some other tropical getaway. We have, this is the one that everybody's talking about here. So we have Bill Clinton in a pool and looks to be shirtless. It does kind of look like he's wearing, a swimsuit though. It looks like darker in the area where the swimsuit is. So it looks like he's wearing a swimsuit, but who knows who the hell else is in this pool with him, and they redacted the face here. Somebody did, shout out to Political Punk on YouTube, because he did, he went and found out what pool this was. Apparently this is like the Empire Hotel in Brunei is where they were. That's where this pool is. All right, let's keep going here. You have Jeffrey Epstein with, I don't even know what's going on here. It looks like underage girls, maybe, kneeling almost in some sort of like monastery type situation. And he's looking at them. Very bizarre. Very bizarre. Ghislaine Maxwell with the puppy dressed in some like, Air Force attire, it appears like. Bill Clinton, somewhere in Asia, it looks like, wearing a suit. Bill Clinton with somebody else wearing a Jordan shirt. Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, maybe some other people here that are
That Kevin Spacey dude was on trial for raping men in Hollywood, and he beat the case. But like 2 or 3 of the witnesses over time, while he was going to trial or before he went to trial, came up dead. So that dude was doing what they were saying Diddy was doing. And I'm not defending Diddy, bro. Diddy's wicked, but Diddy got everything he learned. Everything Diddy learned and was given the green light to do, he got it from these Edomite men and these Amalekite men. Because that's what they do. That Kevin Spacey dude was raping grown-ass men, bro, in fucking Hollywood. He beat the case. He lost a lot of money. But fucking, it was a bunch of Edomite men, too. That's probably why it went to court. But like 2 or 3 of the witnesses came up murdered, man. They came up suicided.
famous that I can't, think of at the moment, but almost looks like they're at some hibachi place, right? Bill Clinton with somebody else, Kevin Spacey walking in, this looks like Central Park in New York City, but I could be wrong about that. But you have Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, some other people. It looks like, I don't know. Is this from when he was president? I doubt it, but maybe from just when he was out of the presidency. Chris Tucker, who went on many trips with Jeffrey Epstein. Let's keep going here. Jeffrey Epstein with, I don't know.
And why? Because anyone that gets into the public eye, they have to go through the priesthood, and that's what the priesthood is. That's what Jeffrey Epstein is. Guys like him and other guys like him, they're the priesthood, and you got to perform the acts of the temple, which is what? It's that Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verses 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you end up becoming cool or close. Once you've done those things, you hang out with the high priest on that side. And that's what Jeffrey Epstein is. He's a fucking priest, bro. He's the priest over the temple, and all these motherfuckers got to come in and bring their offerings into the temple or perform those acts. And as a result, he gets a relationship with them. That's how you got to see this shit, man.
Some very large looking feral dogs. Here we have Bill Clinton with, I don't know who that is. It kind of looks like it might be Virginia Giuffre. But some young woman, some young girl, it appears like. Let's keep going. This one is Michael Jackson, Diana Ross. Now, the two faces that are blacked out here, that are redacted, it's actually their kids. So, and now I should also point out.
So I'm going to stop it there. He's going to say that they were trying to bring I think it's kind of true, but I don't think Michael Jackson was innocent. But there's a couple of pictures where they try to bring Michael Jackson into the thing, which shows you, too, how Esau is. He always has to blame a Judite, a Hebrew Israelite, when his trash comes into the fucking spotlight. But they tried to say that they were trying to blame Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson wasn't fucking innocent, because whenever you see Michael Jackson dancing, he does all those horned and 666 hand signs when he's dancing around. So he knew some things on some level, and he was participating in it. So I'm gonna cut it short with that. But this is just, everything's being exposed about the man of sin. Esau, the so-called white man, is the man of sin, and he's being exposed. So I pray that this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakodash, and double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone of whom I learned from. This is your brother Da, Shalom.